6, Module 3, Lesson 5, exit ticket. It says Jane completes several example problems that ask her to find the opposite of a number. And for each example, the result is a positive number. Jane concludes that when she takes the opposite of any number, the result will always be positive. Is Jane correct? Celine.
It's not correct because if the opposite of the opposite results in the same sum as the one you start. So if you start with a negative number, it'll be a negative.
Okay, so Celine says if you start with a negative number, you will end with a negative number, right?
Yeah, this is right.
You think Celine is right or you think Jane is right?
I think Celine is
Okay, so let's just try it. A negative 12. Okay? We're to find the opposite of a number. So let's just start. What is the opposite of 12?
negative
12. No, the opposite of negative 12 is 12. Now, we're to find the opposite of that, which is equal to a negative 12. Yes, good job, Celine. All right, number 2 says, to support the answer from the previous question, create an example written as an equation. Illustrate your example on the number line below. So we're going to have to write this in the form of an equation. All right, let me erase this over here. Now, so we're finding the opposite of a number. So in support of the previous answer. So let's start with our negative. Let's do a negative 6. Okay, so I'm going to call this 0 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 6 is here. Okay, but where are we going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right here. So we're going to look at the opposite of a negative 6, right? We're looking at the opposite of the opposite, right? So then we would have this another negative out here. Okay? Now, anytime you see a negative outside of a parentheses, I'm going to give you a little hint. Act like that's a negative 1. Do you know what you get when you multiply by a negative 1 times a negative 1? You get 1 because you're doing the opposite of the opposite. You get a positive. And then you do another opposite, you're going to get a negative. So here, this is also another rule here. Look, anytime you have a negative beside a negative, that's a positive. So look right here. Let me do a different color here. Let me go back to this green, see if this works. Okay. These negatives right here form a positive. So that's a plus. But look, we still have one more negative, right? So now we have negative 6 still. So if we go to the opposite of negative 6, we're here. But then we're going to do the opposite of that, which is here. Okay? So start here. We go to find the opposite where it sits. Now we're going to do the opposite of the opposite. So this is the opposite of negative 6. And this is the opposite of the opposite. and gets us back to -6. Okay? So let's write it. Sorry, we really didn't finish the equation. We got a -6. We're going to do the opposite of that, but we're actually going to do the opposite of the opposite. So that equals a -6. There we go.